Disclaimer: all videos uploaded by HatzBatzSystem belong to HatzBatzSystem. All content comes from HatzBatzSystem. Do not download our videos for any reason and or purpose by anyone who is not HatzBatzSystem. Copyright HatzBatzSystem 2020. Any illegal reproduction of this content will result in immediate legal action. If you would like to download or use our videos for your content, please email us at HatzBatzSystem@gmail.com first for permission. Thank you. Bye. Hello, we are HatzBatzSystem. I'm Kirsten, the one who usually does the intros for our videos, so hello. Okay, so we wanted to talk about what has happened recently. We had a talk therapy appointment scheduled. What was it? It was for a Thursday. This is like what happened last week. Hi, Zira. Thursday. And stop. And we had called for our insurance is Medicaid. We live over here in the United States. Medicaid transportation to come pick us up and take us to our therapy appointment. They were late, and we had tried to get a hold of our doctor to let her know that Medicaid transportation and everything was late, but they were all at lunch, so nobody was answering the phone at the office. And we had a full-blown panic attack because we knew we were going to miss our appointment. And so we ended up calling the local police department because we didn't want to dial 911 because it wasn't, like an emergency and something had happened. But we needed to reach out to somebody. And right before the cops ended up showing up at our house, we were able to finally get in touch with our doctor because they had come back from lunch and stuff, and we told them we were like crying, we were hysterical on the phone, told her that, we couldn't make it because Medicaid transportation wasn't showing up. And instead of having like a therapy session over the phone, she was just like, we can reschedule. And I was like, okay, I don't know why, since you're on the phone. And I kind of told her a little bit that we were stressing out and that the night before we had thought about cutting, but we weren't actually going to do it. It was just, one of those stressful thoughts. And so we ended up rescheduling. Cop showed up to our house. We're hysterical, talking to him, telling him what had just happened, trying to catch our breath in between crying. He called the ambulance services. They took our blood pressure and stuff. And he was like, look, I know you can't make really like decisions or anything for yourself right now, but I would feel much better if you or y'all, going into the hospital. And I was like, well, I don't want to go to the hospital because, that's not fun to do. Yeah, he was like, well, picture the scenario in your head, if there's a pool and you want to go get into the pool and there's stairs, you walk down the stairs into the pool. And so one of our littles actually holds stair trauma. Like we can't walk up or down. We can't go stairs. Like we see stairs in a movie. It's hard for us to breathe. We like have a panic attack while we're watching a movie when we see stairs, or we have to like fast forward it. We don't use stairs anywhere we go. If there's a ramp, we use a ramp. And yeah, so as he's like saying this stuff and giving the analogy, the female ambulance worker is right there talking to us, and I mean, we're full on like crying, our eyes are closed, and we're like, don't say stairs, and she's like trying to stop him. She's like, don't say stairs, like don't mention stairs, just stop talking whatever you're talking about. And so finally we did decide to go to the hospital, and now I have papers from the hospital that I'm going to kind of read of how they write and present stuff. So we got admitted Thursday, and we were there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and we got to go home. I can't hold that one. Nope, hold that one straight. But Monday, I can't, these two bend together. I can't make just one bend. Anyway, so we were there for 4 days, which is a really short time span in a psych ward. Our first psych ward was like 11 to 14 days, so like 2 weeks. Let's see. Patient presented to COSF Ed, COSPH Ed, via EMS. I don't know what COSF Ed is. Patient presented to COSF Ed via EMS requesting a medication refill. Yes. So anytime, so we know that how we would commit unaliving, let's say that, because I don't think you can say the actual S word, is by overdose. That is what we have figured out that we would do, because we don't like to take pills. So it's like, let's be so extra and so traumatic that the thing that we don't like is what we are going to OD on. And instead of cutting, we get tattoos. And we have on our neck and actually on our earlobes. I'm okay. My puppy is here with me. You can't see him. Here. You stand up? Yeah. That's a good boy. Okay, sit back down. Sit. Good boy. He's helping us. What was I talking about? Yeah, presented with medication refills. So we have told our doctors that we like Xanax way too much, so do not give us Xanax, because I like it way too much. And we would OD on meds, so we get a weekly prescription. Like, don't give us the monthly where all of our meds is together and we have to separate it each week. No, just weekly meds for us, and we go every week to go pick it up. But since we're trying Medicaid transportation now, that didn't work out. Now we're getting them mailed to us. But so patient presented requesting a medication refill. Sit. Prior to arrival, patient described experiencing a panic attack after Medicaid transportation arrived late to transport patient to therapy appointment with said therapist. It was reported after failed attempts to notify provider of delayed arrival. The patient contacted the police department. Upon arrival, police recommended a mental health evaluation at the nearest hospital. Per report, the patient verbalized current psychiatric provider, my meds doctor, will only prescribe current medications with 7-day supply. RT patient reports of suicidal ideation with plan to overdose on prescribed medications. Additionally, patient verbalized a history of dissociative identity disorder. I told them about that because we kept switching from I to we, from we to I, and saying us, and they didn't understand. And also we were signing a lot. ASL. We were signing a lot when we couldn't actually voice. And the alters who do that are Josie and Wesley. They are our deaf alters that can sign for us when we can't talk what we need to say. And if you're wondering how that works, it's more of like a telepathy, inner thoughts type situation. They can't hear what we're saying. They just understand the feeling and thoughts and what we're trying to communicate to them. Sit. Come on. Get on me. Come on. Come here. Okay. Good boy. Stay right there. Additionally, patients verbalize history of dissociative identity disorder, chronic and acute increase of suicidal ideation via, we had thoughts of cutting last night, but not today. And we just do not want the body to exist. So like when the questions from the doctors and things are like, do you want to hurt yourself or anybody else? I'm like, no, I don't want to hurt anybody else. And I would hurt ourself, meaning the body, before we hurt anyone else. And it's not ever like we would suicide by cut, or like I said, overdose would be the thing, but we struggle with those thoughts all the time. It's like constant. And it's just exactly like it says. We just don't want the body to exist. Like if the body didn't exist, if the body was not here, like we think that the world would be a much better place or whatever. Like our life would be better because we wouldn't be here to go through the trauma that we went through. We just don't want to exist. We deal with that thought constant, and that's something that we do present to any doctors that we've ever had. So yeah, we went into the hospital for 4 days, and so the first couple of days of being there, so like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I was like, we're so, like, the thoughts, I don't even know who they were from or if it was me in particular, so fucking stupid that we're in here just because of a panic attack. Like, we could have just dealt with it at home. But then by Sunday and Monday, after tons of coloring sheets, like, oh my God, we were the only one fucking coloring in the place, as always. And we keep notes. I have them right here. The notes and stuff of what we take, what medicine we were on, the times that we took the medicine, when we could have the nicotine gum. We keep track and diary notes of all of that. We remembered what day it was and the date whenever we went in, so we were able to keep track of each day and the date of and the week and stuff through that. So we actually still have all of those notes. What am I saying, Zero? Where am I going from there? What am I talking about? What was I saying before that? Yes, thank you. So, the first few days were like so fucking stupid because we're in here because of a panic attack. It's so stupid that we called, oh, let me light up. And by Sunday and Monday, we were like, no, you know what? This actually has been very helpful to go in the hospital. Like, we needed this. We're getting treatment, we're getting help, we're able to talk to doctors or figure out medications and things, or at least be on meds when we didn't have meds because we missed our appointment. So that was actually very good. By Sunday and Monday, we were actually all very proud that somebody was in their right mind enough to call the local police department and have them get help to us. So that was actually really great. While we were in there, there was this group session. So we had like a constant headache while we were in there because we hadn't had any nicotine cigarettes or our vape nearly the whole month of August, just because we don't have any funds and we're waiting on a check to come in the mail. Excuse me. And it just hasn't yet because it's become later that we're getting it rather than we thought sooner. And so we don't know if it was because we were having like a nicotine gum that we had a headache the entire time, but it was also a headache, and the headache would form in different spots because I, being the host and also the gatekeeper, I'm Zyla A. Paris, the one closest to the body normal, which means I also experience the most dissociation, the most amnesia loss and things, was trying to stop switching from happening because in our previous hospital stay, when switches would happen, it has made the other patients react. And also, I don't want to be the cause of another patient thinking that they can fake or try to get away with this disorder when they really don't have it and using it as an excuse. So I was really trying to stay present and hold switches the entire time. There was a point in the stay when we had to go to one of these group things with others. And also, if anybody wants to know, this is my favorite fucking energy drink. It's Full Throttle True Blue. It used to be called Blue Demon, which I really like the name, but they changed it because it had demon in it. I'm like, whatever. We still call it Full Throttle Blue Demon, whatever, but now it's True Blue. And I just found it at our local gas station that accepts food stamp CBT. So yay. Back to group therapy that was in the hospital. The group therapy was us sitting there looking at this interactive board set up with technology and stuff. But on the walls, they had like 2 puzzles that are like for toddlers when they're waiting in the doctor's office to do the different stuff. You know, it's like those old block kind that you move on the little swivels. They had that on the wall, and our little pizza really, really, really wanted to play with the puzzles because we'd been coloring. There was not pretty enough colors, not good coloring sheets. They had no journals for us, no markers, not like our first hospital stay. Am I getting triggered? I know you're facing me now and pawing at me. I know. I kind of wish, can I move the thing to full screen? I'm going to stop it and then restart the video. Okay, so we set up our phone kind of different so you could actually see more of us and how our service dog helps us. So what were we talking about? Sarah, what were we talking about? Puzzles. Thank you, pizza. Yes. So pizza really, really wanted to play with these puzzles and stuff that were on the wall, but we couldn't, so we just made it through that group therapy session. And then it was actually hi, yes, hello, get down, down, thank you, sit, come here, come sit on my lap. So we went all weekend not being able to play with these puzzles and things, still just coloring and keeping notes. And when it came Monday time for group therapy again, we go in and the chairs are still turned to the wall, meaning you can't play, but the chair is already at the wall. Like, I could just sit in the chair, pizza could play with the puzzles while the rest of y'all do group whatever. It would have been fine, but they couldn't let us do that. So when we went back in there, we said, we can't play with the puzzles? And she said, no, you can't. And I said, okay, may I be excused from group then, so I could go color or do something else and not have a little triggered by not being able to do puzzles. And so she was like, she didn't even look at me. It's like she had an attitude, and she was like, yeah, you can be excused. And I was like, okay, thank you. And then as we're walking back, we finally saw like a little caddy of books and stuff, so we were like, oh, let's try to read. But we didn't know if we could take any of the books, so we kind of kept walking past, and one of the male nurses who had been there throughout the weekend and knew us and stuff was like, hey, Lex, do you, because during this hospital stay, we went by Lex. We didn't go by any of our other alters names. We just went by Lex for the body's sake and because it's closest to the name that they could accept and not be totally confused by DID. And And this was the only time that we had switched, because there was no one else in the hallway. No one could really hear us. And it was this specific male nurse that we were quite comfortable with. And he was like, Lex, do you want a book? Or no, he said, Lex, you're not going to group? And so yeah, so pizza, that's me. I came out and I was really sad. Like, I was about to cry. Plus, since the body is female and the body's female, that means we have a period, a menstrual cycle. And they knew that we was about to start. And so the emotions already in the body was really, kind of crazy, because we were fixing to start a period and stuff. And I came out and I kind of started to cry and tell the doctor, the nurse guy, I was like, he said, you're not going to group. And I said, no, cause I can't play with the puzzles, and I want to play with the puzzles, but I can't play with the puzzles. He said we couldn't play with the puzzles. And it was just real quick, and he said, okay, well, you can get a book. And so we were like, okay, cool, we'll get a book. And so we started reading the book. And it happened that fast, quick too, like how Pizza just came out to share what happened to him, because that's how switches work. Like, I could be here saying something, the alter who experienced what their experience would have to come out and share the story, because I would get it wrong, because at that point he had come out to answer, I was back here. And then once we got it out and that we could get a book, he went back, and I was like, okay, we can get a book. I wouldn't even be able to tell you what I just said, because it was him that was saying it, meaning me, what I just said, meaning the body spoke it, but a different alter was the one behind the speaking. I wouldn't be able to even remotely give an example, because literally Pizza had to come out and tell his story of it. Yeah, so then we go to read this book. We get to the third page, and it has the fucking body's birth dead name in the book. And we were like, oh my God, can't fucking read the book. Then, not only, while we also had a headache, because we kept getting triggered. And trying to maintain a healthy mental state when you're triggered is extremely difficult. So we can't say our body's birth identity dead name, because that identity literally died when we were a child. We have previous videos of it. Our alter Smoke was our first alter who come back, and he stays at 0 to 1 years of age because of that. He holds that trauma and everything. Another patient was admitted on Friday, the very next day after us, I want to say, or maybe Saturday, that had the same fucking name. So they're calling us Lex, but me and this other patient have the same name. And so then they were saying her name, and we would get triggered because it's the same name, and we had to deal with that. And we couldn't ask them hey, can you call her a different name and something. And then so my protectors, Riker and Raquel and a little bit of Skylar, wanted to come out too. And of course, Ivy, V, and Blair, because they're a part of the main 5. And Pizza is there too. He's a protector, even though he is a little. All wanted to come out to be able to just deal with this, but I was like, no, y'all, because y'all have such different accents, and it's so different from me that the other patients are going to know that we have this something major disorder, and they're going to want to start acting like it too, or start changing the way that they talk or something. And so we were holding those switches, or I was, also while dealing with the traumatic triggering name. So a trigger and switches, trying to hold back while you're still hearing all these thoughts and stuff. And then they always ask, are you hallucinating? You're hearing voices. And I have to tell them all the time, yes, I'm always hearing voices, but it's internal. It's not external coming from out here. And like, usually I can pinpoint in the brain of where they're at. Cause in the middle of me like talking and answering, I'll just be like, oh yeah, it's just internal. Or like, oh yeah, pizza's like right here. Cause I can like feel it. We had a constant headache primarily, I want to say the headache was like right here. So we have sinuses really bad, and sinus headaches will hurt like here, and all pressure like in here. It's like a different type. This was like, I can't even describe what the headache. Now our puppy dog is finally laying down at our feet, so now you can't see him in the shot. Yeah, I don't know how to describe the different headaches, but it just stayed like this constant, like this little spot right here that was like right here that just stayed right here from trying to hold back switches and stuff. And this whole time while I'm there, I hadn't thought about making an altar list or making an inner world map for the doctors. Like, I didn't even think of it. And if anybody was telling me in the background, I didn't hear them at all because I was just so stressed out about everything. And finally, it was one night, I think it was over the weekend. So it was like Saturday evening, Saturday night, Friday evening, because I worked on it all day Saturday. One of the ladies was talking to us, and we had become comfortable with her. She was asking about something, and I was telling her, like, yeah, we're trying to hold the switches because I'm Zyla, and then there's Raquel here, and there's, like, Riker. And so she was trying to, like, write all this down because I was saying it. She was like, wait, hold on, I need to write it down. And I was like, okay, finished talking to her. And then I went and, like, made an altar list that night and worked on it the next day. So there ended up being 2 altar lists because we had just wrote down what we could super fast. It didn't really make sense. It was kind of chaotic. So we made a second one that was much more put together, much more detailed to describe, like our traumas and stuff. And we also made an inner world map for them to look at. So we ended up giving that to our doctors. And she said she was going to make a copy of it for our chart and then, like, I guess give it back to us. But she never gave them back to us, but I don't need them because I have tons and tons of remakes, and we just all the time. So I didn't need it back. It was for them anyway. But then I saw her because I had seen another nurse looking at it. So I think she had kind of like passed it around to everybody, which we're totally cool with because I'm like, yes, y'all need to get y'all need to learn about DID, and we're a great system for that because we're a polyfragmented system, which means like over 100 fucking altars. At the last count, we had 64, meaning awakened, but there's a lot more stuff as far as the inner world, like inner world places. There's like over 30, and there's a lot more altars also in the background that do background work that aren't necessarily present as far as the 64 that I know, like right offhand or could tell you, or that don't take long to come back to the front. Yeah, so we didn't get the copies, but I hope that they like actually put them in our file for other cases and stuff to see. But they were looking at them, and I was like, yes, y'all need to get informed about this. That's great. Look at it all you want. She was like, look at it, like, showed it to the other person, like, look at this. This is crazy. This is insane. This is so much. Like, look at this. Another question that they would always ask is, do you have racing thoughts? And I was like, yes, it's always racing thoughts because I hear the voices of everybody, or it's like chaotic and static, you know, always racing thoughts. Plus my own thoughts, just me. Anyway, we just racing thoughts all the time. All the time. So, you know, I had to tell them that. I was like, yeah, it's normal. It's all the time. I think I'm getting a little energy from this. Cool. Or I'm just really excited to talk about this, or having anxiety talking about it. I don't know. Oh, by the way, we are getting our meds in the mail today. We called her doctor's office yesterday. We're getting meds in the mail today. I saw that on my email. Yay! I'm playing drums on my dog. Yeah, so we have 3 more appointments in the coming up week and beginning of next month that we are also going to try to use Medicaid transportation for. We have scheduled those pickups for like an hour and a half to 2 hours early in case they're going to be an hour fucking late again, that we'll be able to calm down and breathe. I don't know if y'all noticed, we also got new glasses. And we did our makeup. We see we have our lips. Let me get, like, we did it like a pretty little purple color. And it's like a pinkish lip color. But we did our makeup. And a little eyeliner. I like to do makeup before we do videos so I can feel somewhat put together. Medicaid transportation. And then they also informed us that if we schedule 7 to 10 days in advance, that they could send us a bus pass in the mail for the particular days that we have our appointments. And I was like, oh, great. So one day when I have something just like small and simple to do, I want to get the bus pass so I can take him and start getting him acquainted with the bus and learn how to deal with other people and stuff on the bus. Because he was a mess on the day that the cops and stuff get here. Like, he had his vest on and everything because we were waiting, but because I was so stressed out, and then there was these other people coming and they have, you know, their uniform, they got all this stuff, and they're very pronounced dominant energies from these cops. So I had to leave him in the house and eventually just put him in his kennel, take all of his stuff off and just leave him, and then we went to the hospital. But yeah, I need more help with training my dog for sure. Actually, I've been thinking about getting in contact with Caesar Milan. So if anybody sees this video, you know, Caesar Milan, send him my way because I need help more training with my dog. What were we just talking about? Yeah, because when my energy is bad, or I'm like, woo, he is also really woo. Because, you know, like they say, like, animals sense your energy and they kind of act almost the same way you are. Because if you're not calm, they're not going to be calm. He helps calm me down, yes. But my dog has anxiety too, because it's either his breed or it's because I'm so fucking chaotic. And see, he's calm now because we're at home, we're in a place that we know there's nothing happening around, so I can be like kind of chaotic as I want. Also on the days that I have like a lot of energy or I need to like dance and move, I usually have to like put him away or make him get a toy to chew because he's like, oh, you're hyper and you're dancing around and you're jumping, I need to stop you. So I make him get a toy and release his energy that way. Yeah, so that was our most recent hospital stay from Thursday to Monday. August 21st, 2023 is when we got out. So yeah, that's a little update. Hopefully that helps if anybody is out there dealing or something from the same thing. All because of a panic attack. Because I couldn't make my therapy appointment. Because those are very important to us. So, okay. HatzBatzSystem out. And Zara out. Later. Bye.